Hi everyone, welcome to the kitchen. Today I have with me Abby.
Hi guys.
My daughter-in-law. And today I'm going to teach her how to make mozzarella from fresh cow's milk. So, I thought I'd bring you guys along. We'll bring you along and show you how we make mozzarella within 30 minutes or less. So, you ready?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
First things, what we're gonna need are citric acid. So any food grade citric acid will work. I'm using vegetable rennet today. You can use animal rennet. Doesn't matter, both work. And so you need rennet. You also need fresh milk. We're doing 1 gallon today, so it will make about a pound of cheese. So 1 gallon of fresh milk. It can be store-bought, and it can be raw, it can be fresh, but it can't be ultra pasteurized. So it can be pasteurized, it just can't be ultra pasteurized, otherwise it won't work. So first thing we have to do is mix the citric acid with some water. We also have to mix the rennet with some water. So we have to dilute both of these, and you don't want to use like city water. Is it called city water?
Public water.
Public water, okay. We don't.
With well water.
Or distilled.
Distilled, purified, any water that doesn't have chlorine in it.
Fluoride.
Fluoride, yep.
Or fluoride.
Chemicals.
Chemicals.
No chemical.
Let's dilute this in the citric acid. We need 1.5 teaspoons for 1 cup of cool water. So if you want to get a cup of cool water and pour it in that bowl,
Okay.
use 1.5 teaspoons of it.
Of citric acid?
Yeah. And then I'll get 1/4 of a cup of cool water for the rennet.
Yeah, it looks like half.
My vegetable rennet is double strength. So instead of 1/4 teaspoon, I need 1/8 teaspoon. So roughly right there. We're gonna dilute that in a quarter cup of cool water. Just let that set. Now it's time to pour the citric acid into my stainless steel pot. And I'll have the directions to how to make this in the description below, so if you want to try it, yeah. So we have the citric acid in there. Now we need to pour our 1 gallon of milk. This can be sloppy.
Oh boy.
And so we're just using whole milk. It's fresh from the cows this morning, but it's cool, so we're gonna have to bring this up to temperature. So we're gonna stir this right up. I'll take that. You can stir the two together. We're gonna stir this for a little bit. We're gonna start turning the heat on, and we're gonna start warming this. That's probably good. The milk is in the 50s, so we have to slowly bring this milk up to 90 degrees before we add the rennet. So I'll bring you back when this reaches 90 degrees. We're gonna stir this periodically so it doesn't scald on the bottom. But yeah, just keep an eye on it and kind of warm. I warm it kind of over medium heat. So we're at 90 degrees and we are going to just shut the heat off. Yep. And I'm going to take the thermometer out. Now is when we're going to add the rennet and the water.
Just dump it in.
Just kind of sprinkle it around.
Don't drop the bowl.
Yeah. And then we're going to take that spoon and you're going to stir it going in up and down motions. Does that make sense? There you go. We're going to stir this for a little bit just to make sure that that rennet gets throughout all of the milk.
You can see it curding a little bit around the edges. Maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. That's kind of what the citric acid kind of changes the acidity of the milk. So after about 30 seconds of stirring, we're just gonna let this be still. And we're gonna let it do its thing for 5 minutes. It's just gonna sit here. And then once this has set the curd, then we're gonna cut the curd. And I'll show you what that looks like in about 5 minutes. While we're waiting for the 5 minutes to let that curd separate from the whey, I'm gonna talk about what kind of rennet I use. I use vegetable rennet usually. I have used animal rennet in the past. Both work really well. I don't have a preference really as to which one to use. I usually buy the double strength kind, and that's just because that's what they offer and it takes less, so you don't need to use quite so much. I usually get my cheese making cultures and rennet and stuff like that from a company called cheesemaking.com, so you can look that up. And then we're going to cut the curd here in a little bit, and I just use just a regular kitchen knife, something that's going to fit in my pan. So if you are doing more than 1 gallon of milk, you're gonna need a longer knife. And I do believe that the cheesemaking.com has different cutting tools that you can purchase, but for just this 1 gallon, I'm just gonna use a regular kitchen knife. Anything else you want to add?
I had a question. Do I remember what it is? No.
Oh,
It's
that's
gone.
okay. When you think of it, let me know.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been 5 minutes, and I'm going to show you how to tell if you have a clean break, which means that the curd has fully set. So when you have a clean break, you can pull it up and it kind of cuts. You see that? So that's clean break. Otherwise, you can tell by the sides if it pulls away from the sides, and you can see that it's separating from the way. It's kind of a solid mass right now. If it isn't a solid mass after 5 minutes, you can let it set here a little bit longer and it will keep doing it. You could let it set up to a half hour if you needed. So Abby is going to cut the curd. So take it all the way down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, yeah, put your, there all the way down and just draw it back. Yeah.
Those aren't gonna be very straight lines.
Nope, they never are. So we're looking at maybe 1-inch cubes is what we're making. Then we do it from the opposite direction, and that's what makes the cube. Yeah.
Go at an angle?
So at this point, yeah. So what I've done in the past is, and it's certain, you don't have to, because we're gonna stir this, but to cut these more into squares, you kind of do it at an angle this way. So you're cutting as you go down. So just like this.
And then do you do it the other way?
And then I'll take my knife and I'll go this direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that makes the curds a little bit smaller, easier to work with, and they'll release a little bit more of that way. Alright, now at this point we have cut the curd, as you can see. We're going to start heating this slowly to about 110 degrees. Now, some people use a microwave when it's time to stretch the cheese, and I don't use a microwave, so we use hot water. I'm going to get a pan of hot water here in a minute, start it getting hot. But if you're going to use the microwave, you can heat it to about 100 degrees, but since I'm using the water to heat the cheese, I'm going to heat this up to 110, and we're just going to slowly heat this and stir it at the same time. And this will help those cheese curds, that's what we have right now, release more of that whey. So you see how cheesy this is looking?
So cheesy.
So cheesy.
It's a lot more than this than I was expecting.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was just like an inch of the top layer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that it went all the way down.
Yep, it's a whole mass. And then they'll start to shrink in as they heat up. So as they release more of that whey, the curds shrink. So, All right, so it's been, well, I don't know, it heated pretty quickly, and now it's kind of one big clump, and it's actually kind of warm. So we're gonna go ahead and drain the curds from the whey and show you what we do next. See how it's melted? Wow, I may have got it a little hot. That's okay. So I have this pot with a colander, kind of sits right in it, and I'm gonna pour all of it right in here. We're gonna save this whey because you don't want to throw that out. Whoops, nobody sees that. I'm pouring it towards myself. All right, at this point we have all the curds separated and they're in here in this colander, and I'm just letting them kind of drain. And now the curds are pretty soft yet, so that means there's quite a bit of whey in them, and this is how we're going to slowly remove this whey. We're gonna kind of work with it and remove as much whey as possible before we start putting it in the water. So if you want to kind of knead the whey out.
The whey.
Yeah.
It's like bread. I thought it was gonna be a lot hotter than that, actually.
But we need.
Yes.
Okay, we've got gloves on.
Maybe.
Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna take, and you want to wear gloves if your hands can't handle the hot water, because we're gonna be stretching this. And the water should be at about 175. That's a good temp. I'm at 165-ish, so it's getting there. But she has got to the point where a lot of the whey is out, but heating it up will help, will help release even more of the whey, and it will also make it stretchy. So what we're gonna do is take this big lump and we're just gonna put it right in the hot water. And I'm gonna let this sit in here for maybe a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, until it's heated thoroughly. Abby has talent.
I thought it fit, you know.
Give her a pair of gloves and there you go. Kid with a cardboard box. You know?
Okay, let's go ahead and grab the cheese out of there. Well, not your hands.
Not my hands.
Well, I don't want you to burn. You might want to take the tool.
It's not that hot.
It's hot though.
It's hot. Okay, we'll
do it the right way.
Do it the right way.
And just stick it right back in here over the colander.
Okay.
Yeah, you're melting all over. That means it's good and hot. There we go.
Oh, gosh. It's everywhere.
You have it everywhere. Look at the string.
It's like in the old movies where they're like the beast, and it's just a blob in black and white.
All right, so at this point, we're just going to keep working it and stretching it. And you can do this, and I'm going to get you some salt. We're going to add maybe, I'll probably add just under a teaspoon of salt to this.
I'm in the way. Are we kneading it like it's dough?
So, what do I have here? Half a teaspoon. Yeah, we just stretch it, and I'll just sprinkle some salt.
I hope they can
on.
see. It's just my shoulder.
Can you see? That should be plenty. Hopefully it's not too salty. You don't want to over salt it. You don't want to over salt it because you can't take the saltiness out. But yeah, you just fold it on it. Yeah. So once it gets hard again to stretch, you're gonna stick it back in the water.
Okay. I don't want to tear it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what we're doing is kind of just drying the cheese out. So it's up to you how much of the whey that you want to release. So we're gonna probably just leave this in for 30 seconds for the second time. But oh, you can take that off. So yeah, so we're just kind of releasing more of the whey until the desired amount of, well, until you get a good stretch. Yes.
It's not too hot.
See how far you can stretch it? Ooh, it's getting good stretch. That's good. Oh, like you do part. Oh goodness, that needs to be. It's not quite ready yet. So I like to heat it thin. So I'll put it in when it's kind of thin, and that way it doesn't need to be in quite so long. You can see that this is super shiny, easy to work with. There we go.
Clump of salt.
Do you?
Yeah. Let's see if I can distribute that a little bit. It looks a little messy on the bottom.
Yeah, that's why I put it in one more time and maybe the bottom will melt together. Okay, this is what mine looks like. I'm making a mess here. So I'm gonna stick it in here in a bowl, and it will kind of take the shape of the bowl or whatever, whatever it is. If you want to add yours to mine, it's up to you, but that's how we make, ooh, hers is nice. This is how we make mozzarella. It's pretty easy if you want to eat some.
Sure.
You want to try it?
I'll try it. Could be into it.
This is what it looks like. She's got a little piece. She wants to try it.
Can you hear a squeak?
Yeah.
Everybody's in the kitchen. Sydney's working on my oven.
That's good.
Kenzie just came in. Kevin's behind. It's good?
It's good. I like it.
Does it have enough salt?
Mm-hmm.
Does it have too much? Okay. Now to store it, you can store it like this, eat it fresh. But if you're gonna store it for any length of time, you might wanna put a little whey in your bowl and cover it, and that will help keep it last a little bit longer.
Okay.
There you go, that's how to make cheese.
Wow. Thanks, guys.